Is it capturing my audio? Okay. All right. Welcome to the stream, everybody. We're live, and we're going to talk about how can biracial people compete in this society that we live in. Okay. So I got some research I want to share with everybody. I went down a whole rabbit hole, and I found some good information that I want to share with our community. So the first thing I found was income by race, average, top percent, medium, and equality. So this is from 2021. Okay. And you have stats for, here we are, 2 or more races. This is us. So let me find us. So here we are right here. This is the average income for us right here. So we're second place. If we're gonna play these race games like we do in America, we live in American society. Race is very much an important topic, an important thing. Everyone's always trying to look out for their own race, their own people who they identify with the most. So we're gonna have to play that game. We're gonna have to. We can't until humans evolve out of caring about race so much, but we can't force that. That's going to happen in its own time. We're going to have to just play the game that is here right now. So this is where we're at. But the thing about this is we don't know what 2 or more races this means. We don't know if this is black or white or black and this or white and that or Eurasian, Blasian. We don't know. This is just people who check 2 or more races. We don't know specifically what race it is. So we don't know what individually as us who are like Blasian or Mulatto or whatever, Eurasian, who are Blaxican, we don't know where that specific group or community falls within this. So this is something I want to share with you guys too. This is the top, this is for us right here. This is so crazy to me. This is the top 1% income right here. And this is the average. Here we are right here. This is the average income. This is the medium income. It's so low. Like, this is crazy. This whole society that's built on serious wealth equality is insane to me. And I do think we should all unite as Black, white, Native American, Asian, Pacific Islander, 2 or more. We should all unite to fix this. This is so insane to me. Like, this right here has to change. Like, that's crazy. So I'm moving on to the census. So this is the census from 2021. The 2021, the percentage of people who reported multiple races changed more than all of the racial groups alone, increasing from 2.9 of the population, 9 million people in 2010, to 10.2 of the population, 33.8. That's a huge jump right there. 9 million people to 33.8 million people in 10 years. So that was over a 200, how many words is it right here? It was a huge change. So we had the biggest change. Let me share it with y'all. So here we are right here. Percentage and change right here. 2 or more races. We had the largest population growth right there. And we're going to talk about this. So where is the 2 or more races? It said the percentage of how much. Yeah, the multiracial population. And it said right here, look, 2 or more races. That's our population growth. But it increased over like 276%. Like, we had the largest population growth. Let me see. It says right here, over 276% increase right here within 10 years from 9 million. Like, y'all need to let that sink in. 9 million people. I was in 10th grade. So when I was in 10th grade, it was only 9 million people who identify as multiracial. And now 10 years later, 33.8. So that was 2 years ago. So imagine the growth within these 2 years. So this is a big, huge increase that we need to be aware of how fast. But look, I found some conflicting information too. Right here, look, it says 7.5 million. But on the other one, it says 33.8 million of us. And so I don't know why they're trying to play with our numbers like that. I think that's kind of crazy. So this is something I want to talk about. Racial upliftment. This is something that somebody shared with me and that I want to share with my community. So racial upliftment, right? This is a term of the African American community that motivates educated Blacks to be responsible to uplifting the race. This concept traced back to the 1800s introduced by the Black elites. W.E. Du Bois, who's a multiracial man. Booker T. Washington, who's a biracial man. He has a black mother and a white father. And Florence Prince, who is clearly biracial, multiracial as well, too. So these were considered the Black elites in the 1800s. And who are known to be significant contributors. This concept displayed by African Americans means assisting themselves to reach new heights in life. So this is a concept that mixed people proposed to Black people to help uplift them and uplift them in life, right? So we wanted Black people to uplift themselves and lift and have that racial upliftment. This is something that we wanted them to practice. It was something that so during the beginnings of racial upliftment, hymns and spiritual Negro spirituals played a vital role in the shaping of spiritual culture of African Americans. Yeah, so music played a big role. But look, this is interesting to me. Du Bois' double conscience that described the idea that Blackness and its complexities of identity and various lens in which the Black race envisions themselves in American society. This means the racial upliftment double consciousness, which means the internalized conflict expressed by the subordinate and colonized groups, which means that they view themselves through white lenses, and at the same time, they don't really view themselves. So, but I think this has a double meaning. You know, I think this could apply to biracial people too, having a double consciousness. So I'm thinking this, because these are all mixed people. So it has to mean something else too for us. I really truly believe that. Is a struggle of racial upliftment because it leaves the opportunity to believe that a race is superior. So it got problematic, right? Right here in correlation with eugenics. But here's my thing. This is what I see colorism. Colorism plays a role in this, right? So here's where I started researching. I found something interesting right here about the Blue Vein Society. And I wanted to research that, but there's a paywall. Like everything I'm trying to research about the Blue Vein Society, people are making us pay for it. Right? I just wanted to prove that Du Bois was mixed right here. It says French American, so you could research that he was definitely mixed. So I started researching the Blue Vein Society, right? And there's nothing. So all the research that I tried to find, so this is something I found about, this is like a fictional book. I don't even think this is real. And this was written by, this is the author right here, Sam Kelly. Look, if you see, this is the author right here. I think this is all fictional. Like it's nothing, it's just like nothing historical. It's just like a drama. Like it's nothing really. So this is like the Blue Vein Society and history and colorism. This is all, there's a paywall behind this. There's money you got to pay to, like everything that I tried to research about the Blue Vein Society, somebody's making money off of that story, off of that history. So they're making us pay to learn our own history. So that's interesting to me. And then on YouTube, right? Look right here. This is another, you got to pay to find out. All these, I tried so many different links. You got to pay money to like get some, which is weird. I even looked up on Wikipedia. There's no Wikipedia. There's nothing. There's nothing. Oh, look, let me see. Maybe there is. No, this is nothing. This is not about the Blue Vein Society. This is about England. So that there's nothing about it, which is weird. Like somebody biracial mix needs to speak about that because it is like our part of our history. But I want to show y'all where they went wrong at and why. So this is what I looked it up on YouTube about the Blue Vein Society, right? So I don't want to hear it from her because I know she's historically been very anti-mix. She's very biased against mixed people. So of course she's going to do everything to like demonize us. And so I don't really want, so I looked at somebody else. So this right here is what I watched. And if you could just.
I'm going to make a bold statement and say that doing a TEDx talk is going to be the most transformative and uplifting experience of
given a handshake, you're in.
So this is about the Blue Vein Society.
Serious.
It's very.
About an organization that started in 1898. A special organization. Not for the regular black person, but for a special type of black people. Light-skinned black people. And how they would choose that, they would use the brown bag technique. If you were the same shade or lighter than the brown bag, you were in. And also you had to be middle to upper middle class to wealthy black people. If you were poor, you wasn't invited. because this was about a prestigious group, the Blue Vein Society. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Did the Blue Vein Society cause the hatred between light-skinned and black-skinned people? If you were a celebrity in light skin or any kind of powerful light-skinned person, you were invited to join the Blue Vein Society, a special group. Some of them think like the Illuminati today. But the Blue Vein Society was a special group that only catered to powerful light-skinned black people. Male, female, didn't matter. If you had influence, or you was...
All right, you get the gist of it. So it's only about light-skinned black people. But this is what we're failing to realize. These are actually biracial people, so they are their own people, right? So it's like so demonized that they wanted to have their own group, just like we're doing right now, trying to form our own group and trying to form our own thing. And this is what people don't really get to realize. This is what people don't realize. They don't want us to do that, right?
My question to you is, how when there's a lot of us who are extremely inclusive, right? Because a lot of people don't want to ruffle feathers. They want to include everybody into the group. The interesting thing is, a lot of these other groups, especially monoracials, they have no problem gatekeeping us. But when we try to
that's what I'm about to say. Exactly.
When we try to establish parameters, then people try to shame us or say you're divisive. So there's been a few, I've heard that from a few, individuals. You're being divisive. It's like, well, it is what it is. Nobody. The things I feel like these people who are complaining, they should go to these other groups and tell them they're being divisive. They're not being, inclusive. Why do they come to us?
Exactly. This is why I think that I want to learn about, I need to do more research and find more research about the Blue Vein Society, but I want to learn from their mistakes. So they're no longer around. So something went wrong. We got to learn about what went wrong in that. We got to learn from it, because here's my theory. I think the one drop rule messed it up, because you know how they're defining, oh, these are light-skinned black people. But now we know biracial is not black. So they have their own identity. So it makes sense that people are mad about it, because it's like, oh, if we're both black, then why are you excluding me? But at the same time, now we realize we're more educated, more enlightened. We're like, yo, no, we are our own people now. So we got to look out for our own people. So that's why, okay, let me go back to the racial upliftment. See, this is where it went wrong, right? This is where colorism and how people think it became problematic, because they started putting like their people first. They started, see, look, there was the, right here, it says, look, colorism, sometimes known as shadeism, is sometimes a treatment due to color. People of light skin color said to be more favorable, according to W.E. Du Bois, and their individuals be easier time to receive an education. Then take some knowledge they learned and teach the community they live in. So I guess they had some good intentions behind it. They wanted like send light skinned people because they felt like they were more better representation for black people. And that's problematic, because I'm like, no, we need to be able to represent ourselves. We don't need to be represent. I agree when they said we don't need to represent what blackness is. We need to just represent, okay, we're biracial, we're mixed people, and stop trying to, because they were putting their own people first, and they were putting them before black people. If we just had our own community, like the one drop rule messed us up so bad, because it's like it denied our identity so much that it's like they lumped us in with black people. And when we started like trying to, uplift our own people, it seemed like we were trying to step over black people, And so it's like, but at the same time, if we just had our own identity from the jump, it would be like, okay, we could build our own people and not have to worry about like being like pushing away another part of ourselves or something,
Yeah, there's a lot there. The thing is that we're in a position, it's 100 years later, right? What they call that, like a century essentially, or a centennial. It's not really a celebration, but we've come to the realization, right, since the 1924 Racial Integrity Act, so this will be 2 years, that we need to reestablish our own specific racial designation. And I'm very particular in how I'm going about that. So I'm not one of the all-inclusive kind of characters where I'm just everybody, we're all the same. No, we're not. We have a different history, different culture, different experiences in this country. I'm speaking specifically with the United States Census for our own designation. But yeah, because you have people who are like, I don't know, man. What's your thought? I mean, I kind of know your thoughts on it. Me and you, we don't agree on this specific thing as far
Well,
as the
here's my thoughts on that. So on the census, right, it say 2 or more races. So that we're all lumped together right now. So right now, as it stands, we're all lumped together. And I agree, if you want to have your own identity, like how they got mulatto taken off, I think they should include, okay, if you're a Blasian, if you're mulatto, if you're black, if you're Blaxican, if you're Eurasian, I think we should be. I do want to fight for that, so we can actually, have that on the census instead of just all of us lumped together. I do think we should have that. We could have like little sub fins, like, okay, 2 or more races. These are the biracial people, but then we still have our own identities at the same time, so we don't have to like exclude part of ourselves, or So I agree with you. I kind of agree with you. I'm like, yo, we should be able to have that information and data placed on like mulatto people, on Blasian people, on all the different groups that we're a part of, right? Even though, so I kind of, that's something I think we should try to push for. So, because I would like to know, I'm like, how are the mulatto people doing? How are this group of people doing? Everybody else got that. So it's like, we don't know. We're just all lumped together. Like, this is all of us. We don't know
the
what.
the thing is the thing is with my position, we
Mhm,
are so extremely fragmented. I don't feel like we have the
exactly.
time to worry about all these other extra groups, like, with all due respect, Blasian people or other specific kind of mixtures. We are fragmented in this country that we don't really have time to focus on, like I said, these other groups. And the thing is my whole position, if we're out here caping for everyone else's rear end like we've been doing for Black society, and then we forget about the battle that's at our front door. Nobody's really caping for us the same way. If they can't use us because they want to use us, right? Because and if they can't use us and they disdain us,
I think we
despise us.
should, I think we should put ourselves first, and then I also do support other communities and stuff. But we do have to have our own foundation, because we are. Look. I was look at this. Oppression is a social act placing severe restrictions, like like right now, like all of us as mixed people, and especially as like, this is something we all need to fight, because we can't really praise ourselves. We can't be like, oh, we're gonna be, we can't. We can, but it's not socially acceptable yet. We're fighting against social norms right now as an individual or institution, typically a government or political organization, powers restrictions formally or covertly on oppressed groups, and they may be exploited less to compete with other social groups. You see, that's what we're fighting against right now, right? So we're fighting to be able to be able to compete with different, like, competition is healthy. Like, human beings, we need competition in order to like push ourselves forward, in order to have progress, in order to grow. So I do want us to have like a healthy form of competition where we are trying to progress and move forward and grow. And actually, we need that. Is like, we're not really competing like that. We have to start somewhere, right? So look, devaluation, exploitation, privilege are the key concepts of which are instantly linked to the phenomenon of oppression. So it's something that mixed people, all of mixed people have experienced, right? Especially us as Black and white people, especially us. So
Well,
I guess.
that's the thing where I have to interject. I apologize. I'm not concerned about all mixed people. I'll just be straight up and forward with you. My specific plight is for the mulatto people. We've been the most disenfranchised and fragmented group in the nation. We have been muling for monoracial groups, specifically Black, for all these years, literally almost 100 years now. A lot of us have literally lost our sense of identity. So we fall under the same trap of altruism, of serving others, making sure everyone's okay. That goes back to the whole kind of biblical reference, because most Black people in America are under the Christian umbrella. So they're serving everyone else and trying to make sure everyone else is good, while their community is the worst as far as the metrics. You look at it, the economics, et cetera, education. A lot of us fall for that crap as well with this altruism. I'm not focused on these other specific mixes, with all due respect. I'm not trying to be divisive, but we have too many problems at our front door to be really, be sidetracked by these other kind of, dilemmas. But sorry, go ahead.
things could be right at once. I think I completely respect your stance, because this is what I wanted to show this. Like, I was talking about the Blue Vein Society. I want people to realize about, like, that was specifically like a mulatto thing, right? So I want people to understand why they did that, because people are like, oh, they just hate their black, like today, you know how today it's like, oh, they just hate their blackness, they want to separate from blackness because they feel like they're better than or whatever. But this is a reason, like this there's nothing new under the sun, right? So I just want to understand why people, her right here, right, what she says is very interesting to me.
Really think white
What she says is very interesting to me.
think our past is them, baby? I don't give a damn. Look, you ain't gotta be white, but you can't be black. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get the hell up out of here. I don't care about you and whatever issues you have with white people and their lack of acceptance of you. That ain't got shit to do with my black ass. All I know is that you are not a black woman. You cannot speak for me, and you will never represent me. And that sounds mean, but this is my thing. I'm not a biracial woman. I cannot speak for you and your experiences, and I can never represent you, right? So the same way you wouldn't want my black ass getting on TV talking for you. Oh my gosh, you're skilly. Like, it's so hard being biracial, my dog diggity. Like, I look like a damn fool. I expect for your biracial ass not to be talking for black women as if you are one, because you are not one. You cannot speak for me. You do not represent me. It just is what it is. Like, take a step back. So then she takes this bonnet off, and I'm sorry, but this was not helping her case, because this don't even, like, she don't even look biracial. Like, you know what? She honestly looks Asian to me or something. She don't even look like she half black and half white. She looks like an Asian woman or something. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird, because this is something I've noticed about biracials. They really like to, like, force themselves into being black caricatures in order to, like, be taken more seriously in the black community, right? So, like, girl, why do you have this bonnet on? You don't even have a hair type for a bonnet, right? But you threw that bonnet on because you want people to look at you and say, oh, that's a black woman. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, if you walk around in your authentic, you know, translucent self, then people are going to be like, okay, clearly that's not a black woman, right? So y'all got to make a point to rock hairstyles that are not for your hair type, rock bonnets and shit, grills with rob the jewelry store and tell them, make me a grill type shit. You know what I'm saying? Because you understand you're not black, so you have to pretend to be. It's an overcompensation thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, clearly, ain't nobody about to look at you and think you're a black woman. It just is what it is, right? So instead of just walking in your truth and being whoever you are, whatever you are, because like I said, you ain't got to be white, but you can't be black. You know what I'm saying? Instead of simply walking in your truth, you have to, like, become this caricature of blackness, you know, because this is my thing. If she didn't force the black scent, if she didn't have the bonnet on, if she didn't whatever, you know what I'm saying? Then people will be like, oh, you know, yeah, clearly you're not black. And not only do you not look black, but you don't sound black, you yada, 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 right? So they understand, again, that they have to overcompensate in order to have some sort of footing, you know? So then the last thing biracial Becky says is dog diggity. Do you really think I could go into a white space and convince somebody that I'm white, my homie, yo? But this is my question. The same way you can't convince nobody you white, do you really think you can convince somebody that you black? Because, girl, you are not a black woman, right? It's crazy because last year I was in graduate school, right? And I'm sure that every black person at a PWI has had this experience. You go into like a big lecture hall, it's full of people, and you start looking around for friendly faces. You're looking for the black people, right? And I noticed that when I was looking around for my people, I completely looked over biracials. You know what I'm saying? When I'm looking for black people, my eyes skim over the white people, the Asians, the biracials, and I look for actual black people because
what she says right there is what we experience. Like, they don't view ourselves they do not view themselves in us. So what is the issue of us trying to start spaces if they don't even see themselves in us in the first place? That's my confusion right there, because I know they don't have sympathy or empathy for us when, like, things. So it's like, what's the problem with people starting their own spaces, you know? So let me go back to what I was saying. Let me see. Oh, is there Jose? Hey, Jose. How you doing?
Hey, are you able to hear me?
Yeah. Okay, so Mulatto Vanguard, look, I'm not here to argue about, like, I'm here to just figure out how are we going to build this. Like, this is the most important thing that we need to be focusing on. Mulatto Vanguard, you back? Let me see. Where he's at. Okay. But Mulatto Vanguard, look, this is the most important thing. This is what I really wanted to talk about, you know? This is what I want to talk about. The networks of relationships among people who live and work in particular sites. Social capital. This is something that we need. This is our main focus about what, if as mulatto people that, you know, you want to be exclusive to mulatto, how are we mulatto people? This is what I want to talk about. What are your ideas on how are we going to build social capital? So I looked it up. I looked it up. I found some things. Building social capital in your community, right? So this is from the Baha'i. This is what Diana is. She says she's Baha'i. So who's in your community, not a village town to live in near you. It says, do you actually belong to community? Remember the definition, a unified body of individuals held together by something larger than themselves. So what do we have that holds us together that's larger than ourselves? Look at it this way. Who in your community and family and friends and neighbors would you help out if you were in trouble? Who would you be in aid if you lost your job, got sick, disabled, reach out to if you were hungry and couldn't feed you, or your family? Who in your community truly loves you? And this is the motivation to really express this. Most importantly, where does your sense of belonging in the community actually come from? Since our communities can make such a large difference, not only for individuals in the world. So this is some of the Baha'i teachings, but I'm not going to read that right now. This begs the question, what makes a thriving, healthy, smoothly functioning community, increasingly both religion and science? Because you need this, a sense of community, in order to build social capital, to order to compete in this society. Like, you need that. If we don't have that, we can't compete in society at all whatsoever. Okay? So a Harvard public policy professor named Robert Goodman, in the book called Bullying Alone, Right in Our Modern Society, he suffered from the collapse of community, presents evidence that was meaningfully connected with other less than before. We belong in fewer social organizations. This is what, America wants to be such an individualized society. Religions grouped than we have, and family dinners, this happened. Let's see, because of long work hours, changes in our generational and family structure, the fact that most people live in isolated from each other, the influence of television and social media, and many other factors. How do we fix those problems? How do we truly bring a healthy sense of connectedness and cooperation back into our culture? Poonam and many others say that you could generate trust, reciprocity, information that flows, quality social cooperation by bringing together the unity for the good of our communities. Sociologists call this concept social capital. The idea that the derived individual, collective, and even economic benefits from the connections we build from our social networks. So this is something that we need to focus on if you're ever going to win in society. Social capital, in other words, comes from helping others, from weaving together tapestry of caring relationships, genuine sense of unity, mutuality, service, cooperation. When we build social capital, it shows that we're not alone. We don't have to stand up to the world and the problems as a single isolated individual, but instead as a unified group to face our common challenges. Okay? That's why I think that, Mulatto Vanguard, you're right to want to unify mulatto people, right? But I feel like I'm right too to want to unify mixed people, because we face common challenges, and then we could still have our identity, of course. But two rights could be the same time. It's two things could be, everybody got a different role to play in the community. Everybody got different positions and different things they're doing. So that's what I feel like, what you're doing is right. What I'm doing is right. So yeah.
Can I jump in and say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
I didn't know you're in here. Hey, George.
yeah, it's just I was caught up in a lot of stuff, so I really couldn't come in sooner. But as you guys already know, is that like my mixed race revolution community, it's practically open to everybody though, and not just strictly to like a mestizo or mulatto or Eurasian, because I would like to unite us all under the umbrella. But then again, I can understand perfectly that those would choose to unite under the mulatto umbrella or the Eurasian or the mestizo umbrella. That's okay, but it's just in my community, I would much rather us actually develop like a solid sense of collective agency, because if you do that, the results are just going to be a lot more in our favor, and it's just something that's just going to be conducive to success and what we are all striving for here. But then again, at the same time, I can also agree with Mulatto on his point in regards to a lot of our people, mainly specifically those within the mulatto category. A lot of us are bootlickers. A lot of us feel like we should be obligated to being like a token mouthpiece for the Black community. I'm tired of doing that, and it goes back to the Black girl that you were just playing in regards to how it's just absolutely ridiculous to speak for each other's issues. You guys already know my story. It's only going to be somebody like you, Angry, and Mulatto who are going to truly get my past. But
look, this is how it
the
started.
Black community is not going to get somebody like me. In fact, the Black community that docks me they made it clear that they don't trust me one bit, but clearly you guys do. So that in itself already tells us that, hey, we do need to branch out into our own collectives, but we can still unite under one great cause.
Yeah, I agree. Look, this is how it started. How like as like the bootlicking, as you say, or whatever. These were the so-called, instead of being biracial elites, they said they called themselves black, because of the one drop rule and all that stuff. And then they were starting to put their people first, and then it was just them feeling like, look, the one of the founding fathers of Pan-Africanism was a mixed race man, so that's where it started. Instead of us, it's a confusion there. It's like there needs to be boundaries in place. Like, okay, so we're going to do for us, and we're going to support what you're doing for you, but you guys got to do for yourself. And then so it was like just that one drop rule messes up. We gotta fight against that one drop rule more than anything, and just claim our own identity, build for ourselves, because we don't have nothing built for ourselves. We were focusing all our energy on trying to build in the Black community, right? And then that created a lot of confusion, because they're like, oh, they're trying to uplift themselves. These are only light-skinned people. So that created colorism, and that created light versus dark all the time, because it's like, oh, we're coming all shades, we're coming all this, but instead we could just be like, look, we could just focus and build our own people, and we're allies because we're part of the Black community. Half of our family is Black, so of course we're going to support and uplift Black people, but we're going to also support and uplift ourselves, so we could help build ourselves, and then we can help build, have a good relationship with the Black community at the same time, but not like trying to do everything for them, but at the same time only putting light-skinned people up first, and then that creates a lot of problems, and we don't need to do that. We just need to make sure that
because like I know that you saw
wrong
like
there. We don't need to do that. We need to learn about like the blue ink and how they went wrong, and how
because
we don't need to repeat the same mistakes throughout history. We don't need to be like that. We don't need to do that. Okay.
Because like I know that sorry, Jose, you can go.
I'm sorry. Well, first of all, Magick,
Hi.
thank you for allowing me on your panel. I'm still trying to learn how to negotiate with the Discord. I was just looking at the description that you have in your thumbnail. I have a question. Unfortunately, I missed the beginning of the stream. Is when you're speaking about competition, competition in what sense?
It means we're trying to thrive as a society, as we're trying to learn how to be. Every other group operates as a collective. Like there's like when I lived in Atlanta, there was the Hispanic population, and they were all helping other people out. They had Hispanic businesses, they were all helping each other out. There was a white side of town, they were all building each other, building their communities, doing what they got to do to make sure that they get what's theirs, make sure they are thriving as a society. In the Black side of town, every single group does this. Like, I wish that we could. I think that personally, I do think that I wish the human race, I wish we could get rid of that whole concept and be like the human team, because I do think we all really do need each other. We all do depend on each other. We all should be working together. But as of right now, I can't change that. So I guess I got to play the game to change the game, That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, the thing is that competition is just something that's just ingrained in the human condition, and there's just no way that you can ever get rid of that. It'll be nice if that were the case, but that's just never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do you think about that, Jose? What do you think about that answer?
Okay. Well, one thing I noticed, it seems to be quite a bit of tribalism within the biracial and multiracial community. Maybe I'm mistaken. I mean, on the one hand, you have the mulatto side, then on the other side, you have the Blasian, and then you have, please forgive me if I don't know all the different groups. I'm still trying to learn all about the community. But you have different aspects of the biracial and multiracial community. And it seems like they're looking at things parochially and not looking at the whole picture. I mean, there are times where, it's important where the biracial and multiracial community can function and cooperate as a whole. Now, at times they may have to, separate and deal with their own individual issues, because the way I see it, and I could be wrong, I mean, there's issues like for example, the issues that the mulattoes deal with are different from the light skin and other communities. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the impression I'm getting.
No, you are spot on with all of that. Yeah, because there's times that I feel like all of us as mixed people, we could focus on the big picture and fight like anti-mixedness because that affects all mixed people. There are times when mulatto people could come together and focus on our unique issues that we face. There's times when, other mixed people, they could come together with their group, like the light-skinned black people or MGM people, they could come together with their group and they can, but yeah, I agree with a lot of vanguards. Like we can't do it all for everybody, right? We've been so programmed and ingrained to like try to do everything for everybody all the time, but we do have to sit here and do what benefits us, and we can support other people. Like I'm always gonna support and be allies to other mixed people, of course. That's gonna be always my stance, and I'm gonna always put make sure that my people are good too. Like you always put your family first, right? And then you make sure your neighborhood, you make sure everybody else is good too around you, because we all are connected with each other. We all are, at the end of the day, like we all could be fighting the same thing. I do think that mixed people should unite, fight anti-mixedness, but of course I believe that like mulatto people, we need to come together. And I think you summed it up so perfectly, like how you said that sometimes we could come together and fight, and sometimes we could, there's a time and place for everything. There's a time and place, right? There's a time and place for exclusivity, and I respect that. Sometimes you just need to be exclusive and private and just deal with things in a private manner. And there's some time and place where we could come together and all fight for the same cause that's going to benefit us all. There's a time and place. Like it's not. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. I don't feel like what he's doing is wrong. I support him 100%. Like I appreciate him, what he's doing for a lot of people. Like I love that. I love to see that, and I'm grateful for that. So
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. There's a similar situation within the Latino community. I mean, there are times where we can unite, on the common concerns. However, the concerns, say, Caribbean Latinos have differ from, say, Latinos from Central America and also Latinos from South America, because we all have different histories and what have you. So again, just like, there are times where the separate groups in the biracial, multiracial community need to focus on their own individual issues. However, there are times where they can unite regarding common concerns. And the bottom line is that there needs to be a space for the biracial and multiracial community to thrive and grow.
Love what you said. This is why I love coming together and bringing these conversations. And I love what you said. Sometimes we have common goals, and my common goal with other mixed people, no matter what they're mixed with, is to fight anti-mixed narrative that affects all of us. Like that's my goal with that. I'm trying to make sure that no matter what you're mixed with, is a respected thing that benefits mulatto people, that benefits all of us. Like that's a common goal, and at the same time, I unite with other mulatto people because we have our own unique.
Like probably like the mulatto issue is going to be even different than like the Eurasian / APA issue or mestizo issue. They're all
They're gonna have to get together and fight their own thing. Like I don't know what it's like to be a Eurasian. I don't know what it's like to be a Blasian. I don't know. I support them speaking up on we can't speak on their issues for them. Just like, black people called us out for trying to speak on their issues and trying to freaking be the forefront. We can't do that for anybody else. I can't speak for nobody else but what I am.
I can only speak a lot more on like the mulatto issue, since like that's basically has been my experience for 30 plus years.
Exactly. I can't speak for nobody else. Like what Mulatto's saying is right. Like we can't sit here and speak for everybody and always try to we can't do that. We can only speak for ourselves. We can only do for ourselves. And you can't pour from empty cup, right? Or you can't pour from an empty cup. You got to make sure your cup is full before you could give to others. So we got to make sure all of us as mixed people, whether you're Asian, Eurasian, whether you're whatever you are, you got to pour into yourself first. And then you could pour into other people, right?
Exactly, though. And then oftentimes, though, like when I talk about like some of our people who are just having like this unhealthy need to be like a token mouthpiece for like the Black community, I'm mainly referring to those like me and you, Magick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not referring to Eurasians, because I don't ever see Eurasians doing that. I've never seen like the mestizo community do that or any other community other than us. And then also like like on Don Armando's stream, like he brought on like one of those pro-black like nationalist types, and me and him had a great conversation. And he was basically telling me that, yeah, I would have to be a token mouthpiece for his community in order to fit in, which I'm not going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Forget that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like our main goal is building social capital, right? That's our main focus. But we need to collectivize, like have to figure out those steps first. And, and the whole inclusivity versus inclusivity things, I think if you feel called to be exclusive and just focus on that, I'm support that. I'm gonna completely just be 100% with that, like I said. And me, I have another role to play in this, and I just want to be respected in my role in what I'm trying to do in my vision, because I think it is going to benefit all of us. It's going to benefit, we're going to see how it works out, so I respect two things. Like I respect it, and I think that it could work. It could work. So I just want to make things work for us. That's what I'm focused on, and making sure that we have everything we need. Would you like to begin building on social capital? It's not hard. Just do a little research. Talk to people. Identify with a group of like-minded people who share your beliefs and offer voluntary participation to help. Don't do it solely for your own benefit. Do it for the benefit of all. That's what I do it for the benefit of all of us. All of us. That will inevitably produce a new learning, new relationships, a new spiritual energy. The time and effort you expend will generate reciprocal sacrifice and selfishness in others. And what happens, you become a beneficiary of those selfless efforts, right? So remember how we were talking about like spiritual things and like how we need those type of spiritual moral foundations in order to build that, right? In order to build like that social capital, because you have to be kind of selfless with things, because it's bigger than ourselves. It's not just about ourselves anymore. It's about making sacrifices and doing what needs to be done in order to build those connections. First of all, we got to learn how to have a healthy relationship with ourselves, and then we can learn how to have healthy relationships with other people in our community. And we've been struggling with that, and we got to learn how to put some things aside and just know how it's bigger than us. It's not about just our personal feelings and our personal. It's about building social capital for the community, so we could start learning how to compete, so we could start learning how to win. Because right now, like I said, here we are right now.
I have a question, Magic.
Yeah, of course.
Now, how are all you receptive to people who may not be exactly biracial or multiracial, but wish to be an ally and wish to do their part as far as help with the community? Are those
Of
type of
course
people?
I am. I am. I'm all about respecting my allies. I think allies should be a mutually beneficial relationship, right? Because I feel like biracial people, we've been allies to the Black community for so long. We tried to do everything, but it wasn't reciprocated. It was like, what have Black people done for biracial people? They throw the like, what have they done? We're always trying to go hard. It's a one-way relationship. I don't think allyship should be like that. I think it should be mutually beneficial, right? So I think that it should be like, this is going to be a win-win situation for both of us. So that's how I view allyship. So if it's just going to be a one-way street where it's just me trying to always do for you, but when it's my turn for some, and it's like, oh, I ain't got it, So
No,
I don't want that,
But I do agree. And one thing I've been trying to do is, I've been trying to learn as much as I can regarding the biracial and multiracial community. And I still have a great deal to learn. Now, what I try to do as far as my part is welcome anyone who wish to join my platform, and not only join my platform, but whenever I see, a member from the community that has a YouTube channel, I also try to encourage my subscribers to check out their material as well, because I believe in being mutually beneficial.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why I try to, if somebody's supporting me, I try to go hard to support them as well. Like, I think that's the only right thing to do. But I want to talk about these numbers, right? So what does this mean for us? Like competition rise, right? So what does this mean for us? It's 276% increase. So there's a young mixed race population growing up right now, right? So what does that mean? That means we're creating markets for these people. So within the next 10, 20 years, there's going to be whole markets, just like right now, like the Mosaic label, they seen there was a need in the market for mixed people to have like fashion and stuff that embraced them. They jumped ahead of that and they're like, okay, I'm going to be biracial. I'm going to sell it to biracial people. I'm going to benefit off of my own people, my own culture, right? And that's how it should be. So we got to be the ones, because people are going to see this. If there's a market somewhere, people are going to be scrambling trying to make money. We live in a capitalistic society, so we got to play by capitalistic rules, right? So we got to know, okay, there's a market. We need to be the ones in control of our own market, you know? If there's a dating app, like, okay, a biracial dating app, we've thrown the idea around. It needs to be biracial owned. We need to be the ones making the money, profiting off our own people, right? So it could stay within the community. So I just want to let people know that, like, we just need to, if we are very much still a minority, and we need to know that. We need to know, hey, we are, I think we should start owning, like, this is biracial owned. We should start owning that, like, and making sure that, you know, it's supported, because nobody else is going to go out their way to support you besides your own people, right? That's nobody else is going to do that. Just like we see Black owned businesses, Latinos, they support their own businesses, white people, they support other white people in businesses. So we need to start jumping on and doing the same thing. And that's what I did. I bought so much stuff from the Mosaic label. I love them. I got a discount to them and everything. Like, I'm their brand ambassador. Like, I only want to work with, I'm going to be exclusive in that aspect. I only really want to endorse and promote brands that are biracial, mixed race owned, you know, because I want them to be able to compete. Like I said, I want them to be able to, how can they compete with like other people who have, like, okay, if you have like a Black owned brand, Black people are such a bigger population. So of course they're going to have a bigger market. They're going to make bigger money. So we're still like a growing population. So it's growing, but we got to think long term about things. So within them, so these are like 10-year-old, these are kids, like all these kids, like Kim Kardashian kids, like these are kids, like multiracial mixed kids right now, but in the future, teens and 20s, and there's going to be a huge market for what they like and what they want, and then we need to be the ones owning everything. So
this really gets me thinking about something, Magick, and I think I've already actually made the point already to Foster in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when it comes to like striving for like these social and economic goals of gaining capital, or in other words, some people are talking about forming alliances with other communities, when all that stuff is going to take place or come to fruition, everybody's going to have to be aware of the fact that there's always going to have to be a trade-off. Like, so if some people are saying in the chat that, okay, they're fine with forming alliances with the Black community or any other community, I'm totally fine with that. But are they going to support us just as much as we're going to support them, which is what a lot of our people do? But so far, I don't really see any kind of balance or any kind of reciprocation when it comes to like trade-offs, because that's ultimately the only way that we're going to ever like achieve that objective. But there are not all, but there are just a lot of elements within those communities who think that, well, calling ourselves mixed or mulatto means that we have this underlying desire not to be Black. And so they're probably not going to really support us. So especially when those attitudes and sentiments still prevail throughout that community. So then that just ultimately goes back to your point about why we just are going to have to support each other or probably have some level of exclusivity in some departments, because I don't really see them really supporting us as much as our people support them.
Absolutely. We have to go hard to make sure that our identity is respected. Like, hey, how many, I feel like we have to scream it at the top of our lungs. It's so frustrating to be like, no, we don't hate our Blackness. We love, half of our heritage is Black, half of our heritage is white. And as simple as that. We're not trying to get away from Blackness. We're not trying to, you know, disown our Black side. We're not trying to be past as white. We're trying to just be ourselves. We're trying to be as what we truly are. And we need to make sure people really understand this, because it's been hundreds and hundreds of years of the one drop rule.
And not only that, but when they see my face and they look into my past, they're going to be like, nope, I'm not supporting you guys because look at who you have. So therefore, that's just when, you know what? Fine. I guess there's not going to be a trade-off because these people are visiting my past more than I visit my own past.
Yeah.
So therefore, that's just where we're just going to have to support each other.
When our identity is respected, then we can have an allyship, period. When you're like, okay, if you're not going to sit here and be like, oh, you're this, or you're trying to degrade and trying to make me identify as something I'm not, then we can have an allyship, period. We need to, because I think we have been a great allyship with the Black community, but it's like, if you guys don't want to accept our identity, you want to disrespect mixed people, you want to hate mixed people, you want to be anti-mixed, you know, just like Black calling a mulatto a mutt. She made a good point. She was like, oh yeah, when it comes time to compete and win, we're mutts. But when every other time, when time to date and have sex, we're the preference. We're the ones who. So it don't make no sense. It's like people don't want to see you winning and doing good in life. That's when you're a mutt. That's when they degrade you, want to bring you back down, and want to try to drag you back down, and they don't want us to have that social mobility. The social upward mobility where we could move up in society, and then that's when we get called mutts and stuff, right? And we're like, okay, we don't want to see you at top at winning. So that's why they don't really see themselves in us. They don't really see that. When they see a biracial person, they don't see themselves winning. They're like, okay, I'm losing. But I think of it like, we need to celebrate people who look like us was winning. We need to celebrate that. We need to like uplift that. We need to be like, hey, this mixed person, because it's been wiped out. Our identity's been wiped out. Just like Halle Berry, the first Black woman to win an Emmy, this first Black, like all these mixed people, we need to all reclaim all of that. Be like, these are the first mixed people. We need to have our first mixed people, biracial people, mulatto people, whatever they are. We need to claim that and we need to make it a social norm. And that's what all of us need to be fighting.
First biracial president.
Exactly. And we need to, just like that video of Michelle Obama calling them biracial and actually calling them what it is. That's very powerful. That's good for us. That's good for us, that our identity can be respected on that level where it's not like a shameful, like, oh, he's biracial. Oh, it's like a taboo to be biracial, or it's a taboo to be mixed, and it's taboo to claim it too, because of the connotations of you trying to, disassociate with your Blackness or whatever. So we need to fight against that for real. We need to really always normalize it, right? We need to definitely normalize it.
Yeah, if I may cut in, one thing this is the way I look at it. Being biracial or being multiracial, to me, it's as simple as being left-handed, or it's not something out of the ordinary. Now I understand, like I said, I'm learning all this, but it's being biracial, multiracial is nothing to be ashamed of. It's just
I totally agree with you. I want it to be like that. Look, I'm very inspired by the Latino population. I'm very inspired by them. Like, I very am. I love them. I've been part of their community before because, we kind of are phenotype adjacent. Like, we got look a little bit alike because we're all a little bit mixed, right? So I'm inspired them. I love how, like, I think us as biracial people, we can learn from different communities and learn what works. Like in the Latino community, it's like, I like multi-generational homes. I love that. Like, my mom's like a CNA, and I've never seen a Latino person in a nursing home because they make sure they take care of their people. And I love that. Like, I want us to do that as a community, as biracial people. I want us to adopt like some of those wonderful, beautiful things like from the Latino community, and how they work hard and make sure like they're going to do whatever it takes to make sure their life is better. They're going to do whatever it takes. And I think that we should absolutely adopt that type of mindset for our own people. We're going to do by any means necessary. Like Malcolm X said, by any means necessary, we're going to make sure that we're going to have our own housing, that we're going to have our own community, that we're going to have our own everything. Because, we deserve that. We really do. We deserve to have our own, just like everybody else does. And we need to make sure that people are not trying to control us, because that's what it is. People trying to place these restrictions on us, say, you don't deserve to claim that you're mixed. You don't deserve to praise how you look. You don't deserve to be proud to biracial and all these. No, we want to be free to be ourselves and love ourselves and be able to uplift and appreciate, just like how in the Black community, like my melanin popping, being Black is lit. Like all this stuff about uplifting Black people, and we celebrate that. We don't feel no type of, we love that. We love to see it because we're half Black ourselves, right? So it benefits us. So we want to do the same thing. We want to be like, yo, we love being biracial. We love, we love both sides of ourselves, and that benefits Black people too, because it's like, okay, you're part of us. So if we're happy and proud to be biracial, then you're happy and proud of both sides of yourself, and that's including Black people, right? So, yeah.
Exactly, though. But then also to really get this amazing community going, it might be hard for even some people, though, because, like we even have, like family members who are such, but we're also going to have to kick out the racial masochist, if you guys know what I mean by that.
Yep. And we need to, this is something I want to talk about. So the whole blue vein society thing too, because I'm trying to do research. Like I said, people like coming up in these next years, multiracial people, mulatto people, they're going to want to know their history. They're going to be like, hey, because we're starting the work right now. We're like, hey, we're reclaiming our identity. So there's going to be more stories on us, you know, like just like what Abby was talking about, the Mulatto axe murder. You guys should check her out. It was a really great hidden part of history that, you know, some people are very interested in making movies about because of this growing market and this growing population of, you know, there's going to be more stories, but we got to make sure we're the one telling our stories, because this is a man, you know, as I said, Black people don't identify us. They don't. We've heard this a million. So this is a Black man who wrote a book about the blue class vein society. So it's never really going to get told right, because they don't really know what it's like to be a biracial mixed person. So it's never, we got to make sure that we're in control of our own narrative and our own society. We don't need to let nobody dictate, you know, what we could say or what we can't say, or what try to, because a lot of us do this. We try to not speak on our full experience because we don't want to offend people, or we don't want to, no, we need to keep it 100% real. And if it make people feel some type of way, we don't need to care about that. We need to make sure that we put our stories out there in the best way. I want us to make sure that we're telling our own stories 100%. Okay. Like, and writing our own and doing our own history. Cause like I said, there's a whole paywall up. We're trying to learn about the Blue Vein Society and what they got talking about. They could be completely wrong. They're trying to charge people to learn about things and can be completely wrong about it. So I want to just make sure, like, that needs to be a market for us, where it's like, okay, these are all biracial teachers, these are all biracial mixed books, these are all biracial authors, these are all biracial. There's a huge market that we need to be creative in learning how to these are biracial directors doing biracial stories. There's a huge market out there that's going to be created because there's so many biracial people being born. So I just want to make sure, like, y'all be aware of this. There's so much opportunities out there for us, because you can't compete. Like, look, at the end of the day, we got to be on our own lane too, because it's like, okay, would you go to a white person for soul food, or would you go to a Black person for soul food? Like, a white person can't compete with people who create the shit, right? Like, it's going to always, the original always triumphant. So if we create our own lane where we're doing our own thing, you know, nobody can compete with that, because we're going to have our own, like, market down on lock. And nobody could come in, like white people try to come in and sell us our shit, or Black people try, or nobody else could try to come in and sell us our own shit, right? So we need to prevent that. We need to be ahead of the curve. We need to be aware, think 10, 20 years ahead, and start, you know, investing into biracial owned brands and learning about the market and learning about what needs. Even, okay, we were even talking about biracial porn. I was on a porn site, right? And it's always white and black. It's never like a mixed person. We need a biracial owned porn site, okay, where it's for biracial people, you know?
Okay, I don't really mean to interrupt there,
Yeah.
Magic. Now, I love you, I respect you, but absolutely not. I have to
You said no.
strongly
Oh,
disagree
you.
with that. That pornography, absolutely not. Yuck. No,
Uh,
our people do
Okay, I'm
not need
sorry.
that. Our
My
people,
bad. Okay.
everybody, our people do not need pornography. That is a
My bad.
no. That will ruin your marriage. You have a good-looking husband,
Facts.
good-looking kids. You have a good-looking marriage, Priscilla. We do
I agree.
not need pornography coming in and corrupting our morals. That's a
Okay.
big no. Now, again,
Never mind. We're not doing that.
no disrespect to anybody who looks at that or anything, but as somebody like me who would like to have a stable marriage, and I hope that all the mulatto people can get that, along with everybody in the mixed race umbrella, but people, stay pornography away from our kids, away from our marriages. It'll cause a divorce in a hot minute.
All right.
Oh no,
You're right.
we do not need
If it's
we do
gonna,
not need no biracial or mulatto porn sites. We don't need no mulatto. Let's get drunk. All this other stuff. If you guys want to start that, Sorry,
excuse
okay. If it's gonna
sorry about
interfere
that. I
with
mean,
our
I'm not
families,
mad or anything though. It's just I'm just screaming with passion now because
right.
I love us
Mm-hmm.
and I need to get that off my chest.
No,
Hell no.
if it's gonna interfere with our like, even alcohol, we don't need no biracial owned alcohol, because alcohol is really bad. So yeah, we need things that are gonna. We need to, like, have businesses that are gonna help our families, not hurt them. So I agree with you. So
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't need bootlicking. We don't need racial masochism. We do not need pornography, and we do not need drugs.
Excuse me, if
I
I can just cut in. I have to agree with Jojo on that one. Okay, first of all, the problem with pornography is that it creates a false image regarding
True.
human body, whether it male or female. And the fact of the matter is, and again, I'm not trying to claim to be an expert regarding the biracial and multiracial community, but what I am able to see is that, there are multiple issues regarding self-identity. The
Mm-hmm.
last thing you want to do is have biracial and multiracial porn and actually give out like a really distorted view regarding biracial and multiracial women or men. So just on that basis alone, that's an issue. And like Jojo, I happen to be a born again Christian as well. And there are many ways that the biracial, multiracial community can promote itself. They have many people that have done many things and achieved many heights and what have you. Not having to resort to porn. I mean,
Okay, y'all, you're right. Let me scratch that off the board. Okay, we're scratching that out. Okay, that was a bad idea. Thank you. Okay. So
4%, but that's how
we
I
should
do
start
share.
with Mulatto Biracial Professional Associate. Yeah, that's even a better idea. The Biracial Becky said we should start a Mulatto Biracial Professional Association. I absolutely agree. We got to start. Let's be professional, right? Let's not go straight to. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with her very much. Yes.
Yeah,
Becky
no
has a great idea.
degeneracy in our community.
Yeah, we'll do no degeneracy. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Yes. So we all agree on that. Okay. Now we're going to start with, so that's what we got to do. Okay. So we do need lawyers. We do need, we need to figure out, we need like that network, like you said. We need to figure out who's already doing it. Because I know there's a lot of biracial people who are probably already doctors who are already, and then we need to make sure that, their image is put out there so it can inspire other people and, they could tell their story and they could be like, okay, this is how I did it. Because information is the most important thing about a community, sharing the information. Like, this is how I did this. This is how I owned a house. Having that information network of how we do things. And that's so important more than anything. Knowledge is power, right? If you don't know how to do anything and then somebody in your community tells you how, and then you're going to be empowered by that. So yeah, I definitely think that we should start by like building that network of like who's already doing it, who's doing what, and then they could help share information with us and how we could build and how we could come up and raise ourselves up and do what we got to do, right? What you think? Oh, he's already gone. Oh, okay. I'm by myself. Hold on. Jose, are you still here?
Yes, I'm still here. It's just that I didn't want to like interrupt. I mean, unfortunately, I've been to so many of these virtual meetings and what have you. It's like, okay, it's
Oh, you
like,
mean the on like the panels and stuff, the panel discussions and stuff? I love your input though. I think you have a great like input on things. I really do appreciate you a lot.
well, thank you very much. Actually, this last week I was celebrating my birthday.
Oh,
In fact, I'm 60 now.
happy birthday. You're our elder, you're our internet TO. So, we love you very much.
Thank you. The fact of the matter is I appreciate the love that I've received by the biracial and multiracial community. And,
Uh-huh.
and the fact of the matter is, there's some people that do not understand why I'm so connected with you guys. It's just that,
Mm-hmm.
at the risk of sounding, saying a broken record, if you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. I mean, that's all.
Period. I know that's right. That's how I feel. Like I said, we said that a million times. That's how we both are, and it works, right? So, yeah. But I like this conversation we had. So we all agree, as a biracial mixed race community, we're not going to associate with the degenerate stuff. We're going to be professional, high culture. Okay. So this is what we want as a culture, as a community. This is us. This is starting out like our little live chat right now. This is our collective. This is what we decide that we're going to do. And I love it. I love to see it. That's what I want for myself too. I want us to go up and not go down. Right. So yeah, I'm gonna focus on that. I'm gonna focus on building that network, but the whole point of that comment is finding a need in our community and filling it. That's all. That was the whole point of that comment. I wasn't really, So that's all I want us to do is just
Yeah,
find.
you just and I'm sorry again if I
It's
flipped out there.
okay.
It's just I just did that out of love. I promise.
I know.
That was
I
love.
saw.
I
So
love you guys. I
I love you
care.
too.
So I got
I love you too.
into defense mode for all of us.
No, I love to see it. Okay, you're absolutely right. You're gonna push us in the right direction and not in the wrong direction. I know you love us very much. So I need some
Well,
tough love sometimes, right? So it's cool.
well,
Whew.
the fact of the matter is, I love you guys very much. I mean, I know in some ways I'm a little bit of an outsider, but I love and appreciate all of you very much.
Love you too. It's all love here. You know that's what's gonna bring us together. That love, and that's what's gonna bring us together. That's what's gonna make us stronger. Just trying to focus on the love that we have within our community for each other. And I just know that we're gonna make it. Like we're gonna do good. We're smart, strong, capable, beautiful, amazing people. And I love everybody in our community. It don't matter. It don't matter like who you are. And if you're in my community, I truly do love you. I truly want to see you win. I truly want to. I'm here for you. You know, we're not. It's us. It's us. Like it's us. Like we are all in this together. At the end of the day, like it said right here, right here. What does it say? It said somebody. You're not alone. Where'd it go? It said the community. You'll contribute to the good of community, advance higher goals. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to advance the higher goals of society, right? That's what we're trying to do. Instead, we can unify as a group and face our common challenges together. Okay, instead of being isolated, because we've all been there. We all felt that biracial isolation and feeling like fuck, we don't got nobody. But you know, we're growing out of that. We were in the dirt, in the darkness, and now we're starting to grow and trying to unify to face our common challenges, right? So I think we should keep focusing on that. I think it was a good talk. I love all of y'all. I think it was good. Y'all got anything else to say? Yes, I agree, Mulatto Prince. We are on the right path to a healthy community. I love to see everybody come out to. I thank you guys so much. I really wanted to bring forth some information that we could, you know, share with my people, share with my community that would help us out to make us feel uplifted and make us feel like, okay, this is what we need to focus on. We need to focus on building like social capital. And this is all things that somebody has shared with me that, you know, I didn't just think of all this on my own. Like we can't do it on our own. You know, I'm all about just sharing information and trying to get the information out there to all of the community and making sure that all of us are empowered by the information and we're aware and trying to, you know, uplift ourselves. And it's going to benefit all of us. Like I want all of us to benefit. If I know something, I'm going to share it with you. I want to make sure that you are, you know. So that being said, I think I'm out, guys.
I think that we covered everything that we needed to cover in this
I think we
segment.
good. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming out.
Well,
And like
Magick, I thank you for allowing me on the platform. And, you know, I gotta admit, you know, all this imagery is very creative.
all Fader Jake. You guys should sub to him. He does all the stream stuff. He's the tech guy. You know, that's him. That's us working together, you know, trying to get this message out there. I really appreciate him so much. And, you know, yeah, I appreciate everybody. We're all have different talents and different skills and just focus on what you think is best. And I think that we all are going to flourish if we all just focus. Our community starts with self, right? And just building yourself up, building your own talents, building your own things, and building yourself up, and then you could share those talents and gifts and everything you have with other people. So that's how it starts. So yeah.
Mhm.
All right, guys, we're gonna conquer Alabama. Okay, is this? I love y'all.
You guys have a great evening.
You guys have a good evening. Okay. All right, y'all. Okay, bye, guys.
Oh, everybody, be safe.
Be safe. Love y'all.
Goodbye.
Bye.